Whoop. Yeah. You know what's going on. Peace. Oh, yeah. You know what's going on, guys. Welcome to the show. We get money. We are here, guys. We are here. Pro Pittman, 251 Talk Radio. Double PWS Pros Pro Wrestling Show. How are you guys doing out there? Hope everybody had a great weekend. So good to be here. We are broadcasting live on stereo. If you ever want to hear the broadcast live and join the conversation by leaving me a voice message, which I can play live on air and respond to, download the stereo app. Follow me at Pro Pittman. We will get in tune. If you are hearing this on Spotify, what's good? Apple Podcasts, what's good? Google Podcasts, what's good? iHeartRadio, everywhere. Amazon, we are outside with 251 Talk Radio. Let's get it. AEW, Full Gear. Wow. What a pay-per-view. What a pay-per-view. And this is the actual pay-per-view, not a premium live event. Let's be clear here. So much. So many awesome things happened. That Jungle Boy match. That was a good Jungle Boy match. I mean, they're great together, period, right? So it's good to see when they go one-on-one, still great. That Trios Championship. Woo. Woo. The Elite are back. Nyla Rose. Jade Cargill. The Ring of Honor 4-way championship match. We have Britt versus Saraya. The TNT triple threat match. You saw that coming, right? Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, The Last Outlaw, Darby, Allin, and Sting put on a surprisingly great match. That fantastic women's championship match. And I'm not going to say interim belt no more because these women are there every week busting their ass, wrestling. I don't know where you are, Thunder Rosa, but it's time for you to come back. Take that interim off, Jamie Hayter's name. We had the AEW Tag Team Championship match with the Acclaimed and Swerve in Our Glory, with the outcome being the inevitable split of Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. And guys, we have a new world champion. Jon Moxley is our new AEW world champion. So guys, let's go ahead and get into this show. Hope you guys are having a great day. Hope everything is smooth for you. You know, I'm happy to be here with you so we can talk about AEW Full Gear. We are going to jump right into the program. The 0 hour I saw a bit of. I was actually in the middle of just getting back to the house. So I got to see a bit of Danhausen's new look. You know, I know Ricky Starks had his match on Friday, and now they had the Eddie Kingston match as well. I didn't get to watch the whole thing. And honestly, after the last 2 0 hours, I honestly wasn't rushing for it. I was cool. Like, you know what? I'll get to it when I can, you know. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So we are going to jump right into the program. This is 251 Talk Radio. AEW Full Gear Review. Such a fantastic show. All right, guys. AEW Full Gear. Let's get into it, guys. So, the first actual match of the pay-per-view itself after the 0 hour was Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus going to solve their differences and settle their beef they've had. If you guys know, Christian Cage, the architect behind all this, turned on the Lucha House Party. Sorry, Jurassic Express. I just put like 3 tag teams together right there. Jurassic Express, and brought Luchasaurus over to the dark side, who eventually turned on Jungle Boy, which led them to this match. All of these matches, I will do my best to recap for you, but so much was happening, and my fingers can only move so fast. And also, I like to enjoy these matches, as opposed to having to look down at my notes over and over and over. But, these were some very enjoyable matches on Full Gear, and I'm so happy I got to experience this. The match starts off, Jungle Boy ends up hopping on the cage. He's so nimble, so fast. I can say Jungle Boy was one of the guys when I first got into AEW who I felt every match I would watch, I would see something different. I would see something that I've never seen before between people like him and Sammy Guevara, the Lucha Brothers. They always show you something new. And I love that about AEW. Still to this day, if you watch my Dynamite review from last week, that trios match between Death Triangle and I think it was RJ Fox and Top Flight, they were doing things I've never seen in 30 years of watching wrestling. I mean, come on, guys. You got to give it up to these guys. You got to give it up to these guys, especially these tag team divisions. But I digress. Lucha gets color on Jungle Boy very quickly, throwing him into the cage, grinding his head into the cage, busting him open pretty bad, actually. He was bleeding pretty bad. Getting tossed into the cage, gut wrenched, tossed to the cage, It's just a wild match. Lucha is destroying him. Jungle Boy's not getting that much offense in. At a certain point, Christian steals a key. He slides a key out of the referee's pocket on some pickpocket shit from him. He gets the key, and he opens the cage, and he gets caught opening the cage, basically, and gets kicked out. You're out of here, Luchasaurus is grabbing tables, he's grabbing chairs. They end up outside for a little bit. They end up back inside. Jungle Boy hits an amazing Canadian Destroyer off of a chair. I mean, who doesn't love a good Canadian Destroyer, right? Luchasaurus ends up chokeslamming Jungle Boy on the chair himself. We get the avalanche sliced bread. I can't talk today, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so excited about Full Gear. We get the avalanche sliced bread. They're both down. Lucha sits up. Lucha sits up and does it. The Undertaker sit up. And then so does Jungle Boy. He does one as well. He does his Undertaker sit up. He screams, "You were my best friend!" Slaps him right across the face. Ow! Slaps him with the blood, too. We get a power driver on Luchasaurus for a 2 count. We get a tombstone toss on Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy works his sleeper and puts Lucha on a table and then hits him with a chair. And we see what's happening here. Jungle Boy starts to climb to the top of the cage. And oh boy, was I going at this point like, here we go. What's going to happen? What's he going to do? These spots are always kind of crazy, right? But AEW does them very well. He climbs to the top of the cage, jumps off, hits Luchasaurus with an elbow drop, which breaks the table, but it was literally just the elbow. He didn't land his body on him. He didn't go through the table with him. He jumped off just enough to come down with enough force with the elbow that still broke the table, and he hit the ground. It was pretty hardcore. You got to go back and watch that. He gets him right there in the snare trap, in the wreckage. Luchasaurus taps out, and Jungle Boy is your winner. Great match. Great opening match. That's how you start a pay-per-view. I wonder, is Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy's feud over for now? With Christian Cage being hurt, they're going to get back to that eventually because that's not over. But maybe, they'll revisit him and Lucha during that time. But hopefully Jungle Boy can move on now. He can, be repackaged in a sense and move on as Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and possibly go after the TNT title or something of that nature. Who knows? We'll see. Great match overall, though. Really, really loved it. Let's see. Next, we have a promo video package for the Trios Championship match we're going to get next. Between the Elite, Kenny Omega and Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, versus Death Triangle, Penta El Cero Miedo, Rey Fenix, and Pac. Right away, we all knew this was going to be a crazy match. I mean, what can you expect? You already know what to expect from these guys, especially on a pay-per-view, especially with this being a return match for the Elite. We get the Titantron, it's coming up. After Death Triangle we get the promo first, like I say. Then, we are the gears of creation. We are the sons of past. We will carry on. And at this one, we're wondering they're making an epic entrance. And then you hear, I carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry, no. Boom, 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 boom. Cat, then boom, explosion. The Elite come out to Kansas's Carry On My Wayward Son. Oh, so epic. Such an epic entrance. Tony, he spares no expense for these songs. He's going to go out there and get what these people want to make them feel like the superheroes that they are. Don Callis hops on commentary. They're out there. It is time for the Trio Championship. And like I said, there will be no way I'll be able to recap this match for you. Exactly. I can speak of some real, some spots real quick and we'll run through it. But as you can imagine, it was a fantastic display of professional wrestling. Definitely something you want to go see. Pac and Kenny, they start off doing some awesome chain wrestling. Then you get Nick and Ray in there, and then Penta and Max. They all go do their own thing. They all have a beginning segment for all three wrestlers. We're getting super kick parties, big kip ups. Some amazing tag team wrestling, guys. We get some triple kicks on Kenny, 2 count. Nick Jackson, guys. He's low key. He's one of the best out there doing it. I used to think, Matt was my favorite. I don't know if I have a favorite buck, whatever the case. But you gotta put a spotlight on Nick sometimes. My God, he's so amazing. Kenny does his snap suplex. He does so low. I love it. When he hits those snap suplexes, he gets so low to the ground and just throws you over. It's so good. We get one of those vintage Kenny dives. He spreads out on everybody. Can't go wrong. The Young Bucks are doing some awesome spots with her. Springboarding, jumping over the aprons, doing DDT. See you in hell, they say, pow, jump over the man, come on, bro. We get a springboard DDT on the apron. We're getting top rope Frankensteiners. I mean, both of the guys, I think it was Ray and Matt, were up on or probably Nick, were up on the top rope, both themselves, and we get a Frankensteiner that throws them on the outside of the ring. I mean, come on, guys. It's just I can't do this justice. You got to go watch it. When German that Pac does, where he does the bounce off the rope thing where he tosses you, fantastic. Eventually we get them all in the ring and we get a triple tombstone spot. It's so good how they reversed all this and turned it into a triple tombstone spot by Death Triangle onto the Elite. Oh, so good. Such a great match, guys. I can't say it enough. The Lucha Brothers are amazing. We get a red arrow, boom, right into the submission. Pac tosses in the hammer, to Ray, like, use it. Because the story is Pac's been using this ring hammer. He's been trying to get Ray to use it, and Ray's like, nah, bro, I don't do that. He tosses in the hammer. Ray won't use it. We get a V trigger. We get a Tiger Driver 98 for a 2 count. Penta comes in and gives everyone a sling blade. Everybody getting a sling blade, like Oprah. We get a Zero Fear from Penta. Cero Miedo. Then a triple super kick. Bow. He goes down. It's pandemonium. It's crazy everywhere. We get a fantastic moonsault by Ray. And at this point, Ray and Kenny are in the ring, and they're going back and forth. And it's, this last 15 minutes have been crazy. The last 5 minutes have been insane, for sure. Pac throws in the hammer again to Ray Phoenix as Ray is being lifted up in the electric chair position for a one-wing angel. Which you guys know, once you hit that move, it's over. There's no coming back from that, right? So Ray had no choice but to use the hammer and hit Kenny Omega. He goes down. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. They hit him with it. Fantastic. Guys, this was a fantastic trios match. The right person won. The right people won. Excuse me. I don't think that Kenny Omega and the Bucks should have came right back and just tucked the belts. That would have, it would have seemed too off. This can send them in different directions. Kenny can hopefully be a single, work on his singles career. You see, he's going to be facing Will Ospreay in New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom for the United States Championship, which will be their first major match, solo match together. Can't wait for that. The Young Bucks can focus on, either trying to go deal with the Acclaimed or, maybe finding a third to replace Kenny. Maybe Hangman will come deal with them for them to still work on the trio championships. Who knows? But whatever the case, I thought this was a fantastic match. I love Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Say what you want to say about them, but when they get in the ring, they always perform. They always, always deliver. Next, we get Nyla Rose versus Jade Cargill. Nyla has been so entertaining during this feud. She's some of the best things you're going to see on some of the best segments on AEW TV is Nyla Rose. She's so great. They come out, her and Vicky Guerrero, in a lowrider, hitting those switches. Obviously paying homage to the late, great Eddie Guerrero. They walk around. They take forever to get to the ring. It was like a John Moxley entrance, but they got there. We get Jade coming out, who is decked out in the Thundercats cosplay. Last time she was She-Hulk. This time she's rocking the Thundercats. Looking amazing, as always. I mean, this match, though, wasn't the best match, per se. I mean, of the night. Probably was the worst match of the night, honestly. It's not much to say about it, Now it starts the match by knocking out Kiera Hogan for no reason. We got a lot of rough landings for Nyla on some of these bumps. Nyla, excuse me. Jade hits that big power bomb on Nyla Rose. She hits the Jaded. Nyla tries to hit Jade. Well, she actually doesn't try. She hits Jade with a Jaded. And then Jade hits her with one. 1, 2, 3. Not really much more to say about that. Jade is now, I think, 42-0. Who's going to take out Jade, guys? Who's going to dethrone Jade Cargill? It's a lot of people who could possibly do that. But I think it needs to happen soon. Or they'll probably let her get to 50. Let her go ahead and get to 50, then go ahead and just, call it a day. But overall, the match served its purpose. Jade got her belt back. And we are on to the next segment, which will be the 4-way Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship match between the champion, the Ocho, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, the Spanish God, Bryan Danielson from the Blackpool Combat Club, along with Claudio Castagnoli. One of the best matches of the night, no question, no question. Claudio came out with that shit on. He had that jacket. That shit was crazy. I like that. Give me a hat to match that. You know what I'm saying? Some Jordans, we outside. Sammy Guevara comes out with I guess he was the Spanish devil tonight, almost. He had the horns, he had the whole little plate on his chest. I don't know. It was a weird little thing he had on, but something he just found, he just put on, you know. The crowd in New Jersey came to sing Judas tonight. Oh boy. And I will drag you down and sell you out. Run away. I've been to 3 AEW shows this year. Let me tell you, it's one of the highlights of the night. Being able to sing Judas with all these awesome people who love wrestling like you do, while one of the greats of all time, Chris Jericho, comes out. They sang this song tonight. We get into the match and everyone was getting hit with uppercuts. Uppercuts, uppercuts, uppercuts. You get an uppercut. You know, Bryan and Cesaro, they go to shake hands. But you know, it's every man for himself. So, they start uppercutting each other. We get a double flapjack to a double Boston Crab on Chris Jericho, which is Bryan Danielson and Cesaro both holding a single leg crab on one of Chris's legs. Put him in a full Boston Crab. Amazing. Great fight. Sammy and Jericho are teaming up, you know, taking people out. You know, Sammy went crazy on Danielson in the corner. You know, we turn it around. We get full yes kicks on both Chris Jericho and Sammy. A lot of times that last one, and that last kick he always misses, but he got the full yes kicks on both of them. Everyone was getting their shit in this match, for sure. Sammy and Jericho eventually start to butt heads, and they finally start to go at it. And boy, do they go at it. He hits a code breaker on Jericho. It's amazing. We eventually get a sharpshooter label lock on Jericho by Claudio, holding the sharpshooter, and Bryan jumping down and hitting the actual label lock on him at the same time. Sammy walks up, kicks the shit out of both of them. Bow. He eventually gets Jericho, hits him with a GTH. Boom. Shooting star press. 2 counts. The crowd was biting. These 2 counts were fantastic on this program. Bryan starts to no-sell the elbows, you know, that Sammy's giving him. He starts to give him the Blackpool elbows, and he stands up and Terminator swag, no-sells him. And he slaps the shit out of Sammy Guevara. I mean, real deal. Sammy went down. Ooh, boy. Claudio throws Sammy out into Jericho. Then he gets hit with the running knee. Ugh. Uppercut. Ugh. Reverse into crucifix pins. We get an amazing front flip cutter, then a Spanish fly, into a label lock. Oh my God. I mean, Sammy is doing some amazing things. They do that run Spanish lock and then boom. So they hit Spanish fly, and then boom, when they hit the ground, Bryan puts them in a label lock. Chris Jericho interrupts it. We end up on the outside. Claudio catches Bryan and puts him in a neutralizer on the ground. Claudio's in the ring, tosses up Sammy for the uppercut. Pow! 2 count. He then grabs Sammy and prepares him for the big swing. And they're off. They're swinging. And they're swinging. And they're swinging. They're swinging. Out of nowhere, Chris Jericho dives in at the perfect time as Claudio was spinning around, hits him with a flying Judas effect. Boom. Gets him up, hits him with a regular one. Boom. Pins him 1, 2, 3. And Chris Jericho is still your Ring of Honor World Champion. Such a fantastic match. I mean, what you expect with these four guys? Amazing. I had a great time watching it. Never got bored, and it didn't seem like it was going too long either. Chris Jericho is going into Final Battle, the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and I wonder who his opponent will be. Will he still have the belt when Ring of Honor finally gets their TV deal, which should be coming in January of 2023? We will see. But overall, fantastic match. Guys, how are you doing out there? It is Pro Pittman. It is 251 Talk Radio. Double P WS. Pros Pro Wrestling Show. I'm glad you guys are here. We are in the middle of a full gear review. AEW had their November pay-per-view this weekend. Hope you guys are doing good out there. Follow me on Spotify, Apple Music, at Pro Pittman and 251 Talk Radio for the podcast. Here on Stereo, follow me. Become a super fan so you can leave me messages during these podcasts and I can play them live on air and respond to them. Hope everyone is doing good. Hope you guys got the gas out there. 93 premium, you feel me? No 87. What did you guys think about AEW Full Gear? We're going to get back into the review. We're going to get back into the review. All right, guys. Back to AEW Full Gear. I am Pro Pittman. Our next match was the highly anticipated return of the former Paige, Saraya, versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. We all knew coming into this match that Saraya just she's coming off a 5-year injury when Sasha hurt her back in the day and she had to retire. But with the likes of Edge and Bryan Danielson returning, why couldn't Paige? Why couldn't Saraya? And she has. We've had this build up, some great promo work by both of them leading into this. Probably one of the best lead ups, into any of these matches that we've had on this pay-per-view. They come out. Saraya has an emotional entrance. You can tell she's very emotional. I mean, who wouldn't be? She's coming back to the things she loves, the things she's been doing since she was a little kid. She's a 17-year veteran. She's only 30-something. She's been doing this for a long time. Used to help set up the rings as a kid with her family. Her brother wrestles, who was also in the crowd today, who was also a main character in the movie, the Fighting With My Family movie that The Rock put together about Saraya's life. Such an emotional entrance. So good to see her back. She's skipping in. She's doing her thing. She has that kick-ass music. Come on, bro. The Doc, who everyone knows I love. She's here to play. They're here to work. They do a stare off. And I'm like, wow. Saraya is wrestling again. It's really good to see. We get into the match. They do some spots. Saraya, she fakes being hurt. We get the whole thing that Bryan was doing when he came back from the concussions, kind of playing up the injury. But then you can't see it, but she smiles at Britt. Because Britt's kind of worried. Like, oh no. Then Britt smiles at her like, ah, you bitch. We get a twisting neck breaker on the floor. Every neck breaker, we're like, Britt. Ugh. It was a lot of neck breakers, a lot of variations of neck breakers. She knew just what to do to go to that injury and work it to get this W. Did Britt. Britt grabs her after the twisted neck breaker on the floor, takes her over to her brother and starts beating her up in front of her brother. Not in front of the family. Despicable. She keeps working on her neck. Keeps working it. Like a great, wrestling heel. Neck breaker, neck breaker, neck breaker. We get a stomp by Britt. Ooh. She's such a professional. She was playing this really well. And you were worried, that, something would go awry. At the same time, you wanted to see a good match. It's a hard medium to find, right? We get a flip over sunset flip power bomb by Saraya, which didn't have all the gusto onto it, but, maybe some apprehension. Who knows? I don't know. But, they're in the ring again. We get a big DDT on Britt for a 2 count. A full Nelson reverse to the lockjaw, Those knee strikes look vicious, though. Ooh, especially for Britt with her nose issues. They were doing those knee strikes. Ooh, pow, those come up knee strikes that Saraya was doing. We get a twister neck breaker to a stomp 2 count. We get a running knee strike 2 count. They're both laid out. It eventually ends with 2 of the big fisherman DDTs back to back from Saraya to Britt Baker for the 1, 2, 3. And Saraya is victorious in her return match after 5 years of injury. Welcome back. She goes out and hugs her brother. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, Lil. Great match. Great to see her back. I wonder what's going to happen from here. Is she going to continue to wrestle, weekly, or will it be a shorter schedule? Will she be going for any championships? Will she eventually just turn into a manager? Who knows? But it was definitely great seeing her in the ring, and Britt is always a professional, for sure. Excuse me. Next, we have the TNT triple threat match between the defending champion Wardlow against the Ring of Honor TV champion Samoa Joe versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse. This match, they start right away going crazy. They go right in. Powerhouse goes in on both of them. Clears the ring. Looking good. Standing tall like he should. Wardlow eventually gets his chance to go wild. He does that run up the, how he runs up the turnbuckle and does that flip off so fast for a big guy like that. Can't go wrong. Come on, Wardlow. Wardlow obviously hasn't been treated the best with his booking since the MJF feud, but man, he definitely has something, and I hope they utilize him properly after this. He almost falls up there doing that swanton, but gets it. Clean swanton, Eventually, Joe gets on Hobbs, gets him in a headlock. Wardlow shoulder tackles him, We get those spine busters by Hobbs, which look amazing. 2 counts. Samoa Joe does his big dive that he always do when he runs out in his looks fantastic. Powerhouse runs Joe into the barricade like crazy. It was, with those type of barricades, those old school WCW barricades, it doesn't like break like the barricade, in WWE. But it's even more vicious when you hear that bing, that noise, for when you get tossed into that thing or ran into it by someone else like Powerhouse Hobbs. We get a Powerhouse Spinebuster, 2 count. We're getting reversals, power bombs. Eventually, the Powerbomb Symphony starts to get played on Powerhouse Hobbs. We go for the 3rd Powerbomb. Boom. The 4th Powerbomb. Boom. Out of nowhere, Joe comes in, knocks him with the belt, Hobbs that is, and chokes out Hobbs. So he knocks out Wardlow, chokes out Hobbs, and Samoa Joe is your new TNT champion. He is now a double champion. Who saw that coming? I was very shocked. I don't know where they're gonna go with that, how they're gonna come out of this, but definitely was shocked that Wardlow lost, the belt. I wasn't shocked that Hobbs took the pinfall, but still was definitely shocked to see how it went down and to see Samoa Joe with two TV titles. Basically, doesn't need two TV titles. You know, he should be a world champion, but he has two belts now. It's very interesting how these belts get moved around in AEW. But, you know, served its purpose. Not a bad match. We'll get on to the next segment. Uh Powerhouse and Warlow for the match does end though. They stare each other down, then they shake hands. But they shake their heads, not hands, excuse me. They shake their heads at each other like, what the fuck just happened? As Joe walks out victorious. You see Tony Schiavone backstage with Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. Jake Hager still rocking the purple hat that Chris bought for Daniel Garcia on the Jericho Appreciation Day. That Daniel did not like the purple bucket hat, but Hager loves it. I am the Ocho, Chris says. I'm still the greatest. You know, he's one of the best, one of the GOATs for sure. Orange Cassidy and Danhausen come out and tell them that Ishii wants a match against Jericho for that belt. Jericho says, cool, I don't give a damn. Tell Ishii to come get it. You know, he's going to tell him he's his senpai. You know, he's Ichiban, as Hulk Hogan said back in the day. Jericho walks away. You know, Jake Hager asks Orange Cassidy, what's in the bag? He goes, what this? Opens it up, pulls out the All Atlantic Championship, which you forget that he has until he pulls it out of that backpack. He goes, yeah, you like it? He goes, yeah, I like it. Like, I like this hat. Oh, funniest Jake Hager thing all year. It's a nice hat, he says. Orange Cassidy says it is a nice hat. You know, if you want to, try come take his belt from me. So we're going to get Jake Hager versus Orange Cassidy, assumingly for the All Atlantic Championship. It is a nice hat. Next, we have Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett versus Darby Allin and Sting. This match was a surpriser. Because let me tell you, I just don't think we need Jeff Jarrett on our TV in 2022. I respect you, Jeff, for what you did and your wrestling mind and your lineage, but bruh, I just don't think we need no more slap nuts, no more guitar breaks, none of that on our TV. Ugh, just ugh. Him, Sanjay, and Jay Lethal being together were just like old school TNA. It's just not on our AEW TV. But Jeff Jarrett surprised me this match. I would definitely say that. He tells Tony this is the last time. So maybe this was his last match. He just came for one big match in AEW. He's going to go and revert back into his backstage role as head of talent relations. He brings a group of Stings to the ring. A whole bunch of dudes dressed as Sting. As he's walking to the ring, some guy must have spit on him. So Jeff muffs some guy in the crowd. Just hits him with a hood. Muffed him right in the crowd. You could tell this was real shit. Like the dude's like, the fuck? And he said, don't you spit on me. Jeff Jarrett is on gang shit. Okay, Jeff, take it easy. You know you're from Cashville, so they don't play around there. We see a body bag on the ramp. Thump. There's no music. Like, what's going on? Darby runs out. Sting is behind Jeff out of nowhere. It's taking him a while to notice, but Darby's causing a distraction. Eventually, Jeff turns around and begs, please, no, no, please. The bell rings. Jeff and Sting, they start to go at it. Um, yeah. Jay is thrown by Sting into the apron. Him and Darby start to go crazy. Sting is definitely going to jump off something. I could tell. Like, yeah, he's going to jump off something. It's going to happen. You know. Darby eventually grabs a ladder. Um, Jay gets atomic dropped heavy onto the barricade. Woof, that had to hurt. Darby eventually coffin drops off of the ladder into Satnam Singh and gets caught. He grabs him in the crucifix like a Razor Ramon Razor's Edge motion and walks him from the top of the ramp up, comes up and tosses him like a bag of potatoes onto the ramp. You hear a thud, hard thud as Darby hits the ground. It was vicious for sure. Uh, Sting jumps off eventually the balcony, head first into Satnam and Jay, and Darby and Jeff are in the ring now. Sting is, of course, crazy in his 60s, still doing this stuff, but he must still got it. Eventually, Darby and Jeff are wrestling. He knocks him out. Jeff does, and we get a Jeff Jarrett strut. That was nice to see. Lethal and Darby eventually collide heads. We get stinger splashes on Jarrett and Lethal. We get a Scorpion Deathlock on Jeff. Eventually, Sanjay pops in while the Scorpion Deathlock is being held and starts to hit Stinger. Sting no-sells the hits, eventually stands up, and then boom, Satnam Singh pops in and choke slams the hell out of Sting. Ooh, he was a hard landing. We get a 2 count by Jeff. We get the lethal combination, which looks great from Jay Lethal. Jeff grabs a guitar, almost hits Jay on accident. And then Darby hits that kick-ass flip over stunner. So nice. He eventually gets to the top and do a coffin drop. And as he's up there, he jumps off and Jeff Jarrett hits him with the fucking guitar as he's doing the coffin drop. Boom, it explodes. Such a crazy spot. Darby gets up and goes crazy and beats his chest and basically no-sells the whole thing. Like, We get a Scorpion death drop. At some point, he had Satnam Singh in a Scorpion death drop and couldn't drop him down. His big ass. We get a Scorpion death drop and then a coffin drop to bring Satnam down. And then eventually the lethal injection is reversed into a death drip. Sorry, the Scorpion death drop. Bow. He catches Jay Lethal right as he's flipping back into it. We get the coffin drop. 1, 2, 3. And I gotta tell you, this match was way more entertaining than I was expecting. I did not expect it to be that fun. But God, it was a great match. Such a great match. The matches kept rolling along. I was surprised that nothing was really, drawing the whole thing out. I was boring, so it was definitely moving along, and we will keep going with our AEW review of Full Gear here on 251 Talk Radio. I am Pro Pittman. I am so happy you guys are here with me. If you're checking me out on stereo, what it do? If you're checking me out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, we're everywhere. Google Podcasts. We have the Men's Mental Health show, Men's Mental Health Monday going on later on with Vinny the Great. And we will keep these wrestling reviews going on for you guys as well. Thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure you subscribe. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you can see when a new video goes up. From shorts to full reviews, full talk radio podcasts on 251 Talk Radio. We're going to get right back into the review of AEW's Full Gear. The next match may have been my most favorite match of the night. Definitely popped the most for the ending of this match. We have Jamie Hayter we have Jamie Hayter challenging Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Interim World Championship. And I was definitely looking forward to this one. Huge fan of both women. I was hoping for this result we got, but I didn't know which way Tony was going to go with it. So I have to definitely give him an applause for doing the right thing. Jamie Hayter looks great coming out. She's letting the crowd know this is my time. I'm here. Toni Storm looks great. As much as I hate her theme song. Whatever. I love that type of music. It just, that song just doesn't work for an entrance theme song, whatever the case. As I'm watching it with my homeboy Banks, I'm like, yo, there's something missing about Toni Storm. I don't know what it is. She can wrestle. It's just something missing, about her. I don't know what it is. But they both get in there. You can see the crowd is on Jamie Hayter's side. She is showing Toni Storm that this is not going to be an easy fight for her. And the crowd is here with Jamie Hayter. I am excited for this match. And they get into it. They both hit the taunt button immediately. Jamie almost hits that kick-ass clothesline from hell she does, which is fantastic. We get the hip attack on the apron on Jamie, which knocks her out. The sweet cheek music, I think, as Tony calls it. We get Jamie thrown into the post, which those corner posts definitely have to hurt, We get some chops in the corner. Shoulder tackle. We get the knee pin from Jamie, 2 count, who's starting to heal it up at this point. Starting to remind the crowd she's a heel, she's a badass, Jamie is getting cocky. Tony hits that kick-ass Luthez press she's been doing. She gets a lot of height with it. And Jamie's a big girl, so boom, she's tucked her down. A la Stone Cold Steve Austin. We eventually get the sweet cheeks music. Boom! That hip attack, I tell you, bro. It is vicious every time I see it. Like, seriously. But Tony just knows what she's doing, and hopefully she hasn't hurt anybody doing that thing. But such a great match so far. We get elbows to headbutts, and Tony falls on her face for the 2 count. Tony eventually starts to show some color. She's bleeding now. Here comes Rebel. We knew it was going to happen, right? Didn't know how it was going to go, but here comes Rebel. They got it back and forth on the ropes, Tony has the color. Rebel eventually, boom, hits her with the belt. Oh. Jamie attacks her, gets a 2 count. The referee eventually notices that Rebel's up on the apron and she has the belt. So he kicks her out, says she's gone. She has to go. Tony goes out and she's eventually on the ground, crawling. And a hooded figure comes in and hits her with a stomp. And we know, as we're seeing that stomp in them J's, it is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. They're all causing distractions. It's Jamie's time, she says. We get a power driver by Tony. 2 count. Jamie eventually hypes up. She ain't playing. Switch Storm 0. 2 count. We get the hate breaker. 2 count. This is such a good match. This last 10 minutes was fantastic. Fantastic. Jamie is giving it all she has. They're both super tired. Eventually, you see Britt Baker over there on the turnbuckle trying to pull the padding up the turnbuckle. She gets thrown. Jamie gets thrown into it. Tony gets thrown into it. Britt falls off of it, throws the padding. Eventually, Tony spins around into Jamie Hayter. Boom. Clothesline. 1, 2, 3. And Jamie Hayter is your new All Elite Wrestling Women's World Champion. And I was all like, I popped. I was super excited. So happy to see her finally get this. I am definitely a Jamie Hayter fan. She's one of the best in the business. She makes it look so real. Real deal. She lays it in and she looks fantastic at what she's doing. I mean, come on. Definitely the right decision. So happy that Jamie Hayter won. There was real adulation. You can tell Her and Britt, they hugged each other. Britt presented her with the belt. You could see this was a real deal, man. Such a great match. Congratulations to Jamie Hayter as your new AEW interim women's championship. So when Thunder Rosa comes back, we got to figure this out. You got to come back ASAP soon, because pretty soon there's no interim about it. You're either the champion or not, as Sean Spears said, right? So once again, congratulations, Jamie Hayter, as our new world champion. Super excited. Great match. Had a great time watching it. We get to our co-main event. Swerve in Our Glory. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland challenging the Acclaimed Max Caster and Anthony Bowens with Daddy Ass for the AEW Tag Team Championships, which they lost from them at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. Some would say they should have won the belt originally, originally at AEW All Out, but Tony didn't hit the audible like we all thought he should have. So let's get in to this match, guys. Max Caster spits like he normally does, but he goes, you know what? Hold on, I got some more. He spits more. He has 8 bars. He had a whole verse for these motherfuckers. He goes crazy. He tells Keith Lee he loved him in The Blind Side. Very well. They have this entrance down packed. I mean, from Anthony Bowens grabbing the mic and running in, flipping it like he does, saying, the city, New Jersey, flips in, the Acclaimed have arrived, Scissor me, Daddy Ass, let's go. They get going right away. We get a Scissor Me Timbers. I love that move. They start working Bowen's arm, because Bowens apparently was going around the whole weekend with a sling on, probably trying to keep his arm okay for whatever had happened to him. And we didn't know how serious it was. But, Swerve kept going for that arm, working it. At this moment, I was like, did something happen earlier? I didn't know at this point that he had been walking around with a sling. But I was still curious, like, why are they working the arm like that? But, Swerve grows, and he out of nowhere just leaves for a second and out and just grabs a rail, takes him forever, comes back with it, lays it like he bridges it almost on the outside of the ring onto the floor. Tells Keith, Keith, like, what are you doing? And Swerve's like, it's worried about him, Swerve tries to eventually suplex Anthony on the rack, but gets reversed, Lee starts killing now. They're trying to keep Max Caster out the fight. They're working Bowens' arm. They're keeping him in the ring. He gets up an electric chair, reverses it into a Hurricane Rana, a backwards Hurricane Rana on Keith Lee, which looked great. We get our hot tag, which is more lukewarm, but we get it. Eventually Lee starts to have to work on Max. We get that awesome top rope leg drop. I think it was like a famouser, basically. We get some awesome tag team moves into the cutter. 2 count. Keith eventually catches Swerve from falling on the rail. And then Max jumps into Keith onto the rail off the apron. It was amazing. We get a Who's House? Swerve's House. With these amazing kicks. Bow! 2 count. He does them 4 times, that flying kick he was doing. It was so amazing. I gotta say, I was never like I knew about Swerve, you know what I'm saying? I just wasn't really aware of how good he was until I saw him here. I wasn't seeing him on Hit Row like that. Hit Row, Hit Row. I'm cool though on Hit Row. I don't know. Fun and grave. But yes, Swerve was doing his thing, looking amazing. It was a great match. We get the top rope stomp and they miss it, the arrival they call it. We get a mic drop on Keith Lee and he jumps into the pin. They break the pin up. At this point, the crowd wasn't really paying attention to the match. They're wondering what the hell was going on. Are they dead? What's going on? Eventually, you could tell that someone had got kicked out, as the announcers told us, of the arena for doing something. And the crowd was more focused on that than the match. I felt kind of bad for the guys, but they kept going. Um, the crowd started to chant asshole for that person. Swerve hits the finishing tag move for a 2 count. Lee throws Max into Anthony Bowens, and then Swerve grabs the pliers, the same pliers that he destroyed Daddy Ash's fingers with. But then Daddy Ash comes out, starts getting that Swerve, but then they have everyone come out and separate them. Swerve gives Keith the pliers. Like, yo, use them, G. Like, use them. Keith's like, no, I'm not going to use them. So what does Swerve do? He slapped the shit out of Keith Lee. I'm like, damn. Slapped the shit out of Keith Lee. Keith Lee looks at him. Like, all right. And walks away. And leaves Swerve in a handicap match to win these championships by himself. They destroy Swerve. Hit him. Take him out. They hit him with that kick-ass flip finisher. 1, 2, 3. And the Acclaim is still your AEW tag team champions, which in my eyes is the best decision. I didn't want Swerve to get it back. We did what we were supposed to do. Keith Lee and Swerve can now be heels and faces on opposite sides, probably have a small feud, and then move on from there. But it was a great match, and what can I say? Everyone loves the Acclaim. Once again, guys, we are on 251 Talk Radio. I am Pro Pittman, guys. Welcome here so much. I'm so happy you guys are here. If you're checking us out live on stereo, what it do? Aubrey, what's cracking, famo? We got Banks in the building. Number love, famo. We running through this AEW Full Gear review. We had to get in tune that day. We had a couple in the air. You know what I'm saying? Some food on deck. Almost fell asleep around this portion of the event, I think. This is the moment where we got a little sleepy, right? But had to pop up because the main event was next. Once again, follow me on Spotify, Apple Music, and all your streaming devices, whether it's for hip-hop music, whether it is for podcasting, whatever you like. This is Pro Pittman on WPWS Pros Pro Wrestling Show. Yeah. We have one more segment, guys, we're going to run through. The main event of AEW's Full Gear. 251 Talk Radio. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, YouTube. Hit the bell for those notifications. Make sure you go check out Jack City Battle League, the premier battle league out here in the Midwest for us, located out of Beloit area. Shouts out 100 Banks and the whole squad. You know it's number love, JCBL. We are in the building. So, it is time for the main event. But before the main event, we got a graphic showing us that the Elite and Death Triangle will be doing a best of 7 series with the Death Triangle already being one up. What? Winter's coming, the Holiday Bash, New Year's Eve Bash, they will all happen on these separate dates, culminating in the 7th match in Los Angeles at the Forum. So, if you guys know anything about the Elite, they're California boys. That's what their squad is. So if it does go there, just know the Elite's going to come out winning. They're not going to lose in California. I tell you that. We will see how that goes, though. But on to our main event. The main event of the evening. MJF trying to capture his first world championship at 25 years old, if I'm correct. MJF is going to challenge Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. MJ comes out once, says that's not enough, comes out again, and the crowd is raucous. They're in New Jersey. They are turning up. They are throwing the babies in the air, as Jim says, on Faux Nem Grave. Moxie comes out. Wild thing. You know how we do. He has William Regal with him of the Blackpool Combat Club. Gang. The bell rings. John immediately steals him. MJF hits him back. John starts to go crazy on him. Chops, doing his John Moxley thing. He's going to eat your blood. He's going to grind your bones in the dust. You know John Moxley. He eventually drops down and does, the Jeff Jarrett walks over him. MJF does. Hits him with a Jeff Jarrett walk. Pumps the crowd up. He runs back and forth. Like he's going to do a dive. Like, oh, no, he's going to get ready. He's going to do a dive. MJF's going to do a dive. And he just keeps running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It just stops. Oh, MJF. Classic heel. Moxley eventually starts to bite MJF. He gets it in on him. MJF bites him to break a hold. Everyone's biting. We get a Falcon Arrow to a Jujutsu armbar. The Jujutsu. Fucking Excalibur. They eventually go on the outside. It's a Moxie match. They got to do some work on the outside, right? They're not going to be in the ring the whole time. It's the Moxie we're talking about here. We get a classic back rake by MJF. Who doesn't love a good back rake? We get the back rake by MJF. He grabs a timekeeper's table and they place it up, on the side of the apron on the outside of the ring. There's cutters everywhere. Everyone's cutting. John Moxley's cutting. Everyone's getting a cutter. When I was a kid, you had to watch DDP to get you a nice cutter. I'm talking about some bang, self high five shit. You know what I'm saying? I fucks with DDP still to this day. He the one that made me eventually try yoga. I don't still do yoga because I was getting too lean. I don't want to be that lean. I'm trying to buck. I'm trying to buck, put him up. But I digress. But shout out to DDP in the influence of the cutter. He starts to stomp a mud hole in him. John Moxley does as the crowd boos. We get a tombstone by MJF on the apron. And then when he comes down, he tweaks his knee a little bit. He tries the power driver and he gets reversed. Moxley power drives him through the table on the outside. Looks great. Max is laid out after that power driver. Moxley gets back in. The referee starts to count. I'm surprised. Oh, they're counting? But, he starts to count. We get to a 9. MJF barely makes it back in. Barely, but he does. We get a paradigm shift by Moxley for a 2 count. He hits him with the figure 4. I love it. Classic wrestling in here. He's doing the figure 4 as Moxley grabs the ropes. We get a heat seeker, 2 count. Chop block. Max starts to work on Moxley's knee. We eventually starts to get fuck you, Moxley chants. Fuck you, Moxley. MJF counters to a rope fall. They eventually fight on the top rope. We get elbows, elbows. And then we hit MJF with an avalanche paradigm shift. Thought that was over. That was it. We get a 1. We get a 2. And we get MJF grabs the ropes at right 2.5. They're starting to get down to the wire. These 2 counts are getting really spicy. The crowd is biting on everyone. Moxley tells MJF to give me your best fucking shot. Hit me, motherfucker. His words, not mine. MJF spits at him. We eventually get the back and forth hits, The yeah! Boo! Yeah! Boo! Those hits, We get that for a second. Moxley runs at MJF, and MJF pulls the ref into him, knocking out the referee. And at this point, you already know, oh, shit, it's going to go down. What's going to happen? Who's going to come out? We don't know. MJF grabs the dynamite diamond ring. He's going to go to that old trope and knock out Moxley with the dynamite diamond ring. At this moment, Rico walks down and says, don't you even think about it. Don't you do it. On phone him. Don't do it. MJF says, I forget it. And he throws the ring out. Flips off Regal. Boom, he gets choked. Eventually, we get the Bulldog choke on MJF. I thought this was going to be it. He's like, and at this point, because there's no referee, because another referee came in and got knocked out again as Moxie was choking MJF. So as he gets him in the Bulldog choke, MJF taps immediately, but there's no referee to count the tap and declare Moxley the winner. At this moment, William Regal throws in the golden brass knuckles to MJF to officially betray the Blackpool Combat Club and Jon Moxley. We saw this coming, but we didn't know if it was going to happen officially. MJF throws him on. Bow. Moxie falls. MJF tirely comes over to pin. He throws the arm over Jon Moxley, and if you notice, his hand had a big old middle finger up, and he pinned Moxley with the middle finger arm. We get a 1, we get a 2, we get a 3, and MJF is your new world champion of AEW. It's a new era. A new champion has been crowned. The MJF era has begun. The cameraman catches a smirk by William Regal. God damn, we do him. Why, William? Why? Oh, such a great finish. Such a good ending to a world championship match. Regal has sold his soul to the devil. The MJF era begins tonight. He looks great with that belt, I have to say. As the show goes off the air. What'd you guys think of AEW Full Gear? Leave me a message on stereo. Let me know what you guys thought about it. I'll play your message live. You will be on Spotify as well. This is Pro Pittman, WPWS, double P, double S. Pro Pittman's wrestling show, guys. I'm so happy to be here. So happy you hung out with me. You took the time to check this out. Hope you enjoyed Full Gear. What's going to happen from here? Who will be MJF's first feud coming out of this? Who will dethrone Jade Cargill? Who will take Chris Jericho off the Ring of Honor throne? What's next for Jungle Boy? Congratulations, Jamie Hayter. Will we see Thunder Rosa on this Wednesday's Dynamite? These questions and more. All I know is that everyone loves the Acclaimed. Scissor me, daddy ass! This has been 251 Talk Radio. Make sure you follow us on Spotify. Make sure you find me here on stereo, on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that bell so you get notifications about when our new videos drops. Follow me on Instagram at Pro Pittman. These reviews, guys, will keep coming. Tuesdays for Monday Night Raw. Thursdays for AEW Dynamite. Barring, Thanksgiving and things of that nature. And our SmackDown reviews will probably come on Saturday. If not, maybe on Monday, because I'm a busy man on the weekends playing shows, things of that nature. And any premium live event like this upcoming weekend's War Games Survivor Series, you will get the reviews by Monday. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out. I am Pro Pittman. This has been Double PWS, Pros Pro Wrestling Show, AEW Full Gear Recap and Review on 251 Talk Radio. You guys take care of yourself, take care of one another. We will see you again for the Monday Night Raw review. We have Men's Mental Health Monday today. Take care of yourself, brothers. 1:30 Central Time, we'll be here with Vinny the Great doing our broadcast, and you will be able to hear that on Spotify as well. Make sure you take care of yourself. Take care of one another. I am Pro Pittman, and we always end these shows with a peace. Phone on Gray.